cause and effect diagram. It is also known as Ishikawa diagram. The reason is it is developed by one of the quality guru called Ishikawa. It is also known as fishbone diagram because the structure of this cause and effect diagram is similar to bone of the fish. It is a picture composed of lines and symbols designed to represent a meaningful relationship between an effect and its causes. Cause and effect diagrams are used to investigate either a bad effect and to take action to correct the causes, or a good effect and to learn those causes that are responsible. Okay, it can be implemented both in order to identify good effect and also bad effect. Okay, so consider an example: bad effect, the impact of COVID, okay, on economy of a nation. That is the bad effect. Okay, good effect is, suppose the reasons for success of a candidate who is taking UPSC exam. That is a good effect. Okay, suppose if someone is able to clear UPSC exam, then what are the reasons or what are the causes for his success? Okay, that can be represented using cause and effect diagram. In manufacturing sector, we can make use of this cause and effect diagram in order to identify good effect and also bad effect. Suppose if you are considering quality characteristic, okay. Suppose if you are not getting required dimension, okay, that is the effect. Then you can evaluate what are the causes for getting improper dimension. Okay, so next, even you can evaluate good effect. Suppose if the performance of an IC engine is good, then you can list the causes. Okay, it may be quality of the fuel, it may be because of the person who is using that IC engine, the maintenance of the engine. Okay, like that you can list the reasons. It can be applied in different fields. So this is the structure of cause and effect diagram. Okay, so it is written for considering quality characteristic. Okay, so now consider quality characteristic as dimension of a component. Okay, consider a cylindrical component where you have to perform turning operation on lathe. Okay, so and the expected dimension of the cylindrical component is 18 mm. Instead of getting 18 mm, suppose if you are getting 17.5 mm, okay, so that is a defect. Okay, so your expectation is to get a dimension of 18 mm diameter, but you are getting it as 17.5 mm. Then that is the output you are having, that is the effect. Next, if you evaluate, okay, what are the reasons for which you are getting this dimension instead of getting 18 mm. Okay, it may be because of work methods. Okay, so because of the working conditions, the parameters. Okay, it may be depth of cut, okay, and coolant, application of coolants or lubrication. Okay, overall work methods you can consider it as a cutting environment. Okay, so depth, then okay, application of lubricant, okay, feed, speed, depth of cut, all those things comes under work methods. Then material of the cutting tool and material of the component. Okay, both you can consider. Because of the properties of the material also, you may be ending up with a defective component. Okay, and next, people who are operating the lathe machine, or if it is CNC, people who are operating the CNC. Okay, so because of their skill, because of their lack of skill or lack of interest, or because of work fatigue also, there may be changes in the dimension. Next, environment. Okay, so environment also you have to consider. So temperature. Okay, so because of the temperature, the properties of the material may vary. Okay, then equipment. Again, whether if the machine is not properly maintained, okay, because of that reason also you may be getting so incorrect dimensions of the end product. Next, measurement. Okay, you might have done it properly. Okay, so it might have been machined for 18 mm diameter, but when you go for measuring using vernier caliper, Okay, so because of the error in the instrument which is used for measurement, you may be getting it as 17.5 mm, even though actually it is having 18 mm size. Okay, so like that, this is an example where you have considered dimension of a product. Like that, for any problem, okay, you can make use of this cause and effect diagram. It may not be related only to manufacturing sector. Okay, even you can apply this cause and effect diagram for your personal life for various problems. Okay, you can analyze it in a better way, and you will get a overall picture of the problem and its causes. Okay, if you are able to identify a problem and its causes, then it is possible for you to solve that problem. Okay, if you are not able to identify the reasons for a particular problem, you cannot solve that problem. Okay, next there is another example. So cause and effect diagram for house paint peeling. Okay, so this we experience, okay, because of various reasons. So house paint will will experience peeling. Okay, so ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಿತ್ತು ಬರೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಚಕ್ಲಿಕೆ ತರ ಕಿತ್ತು ಬರ್ತಿದೆ paint ಅಂತ. So that is the house paint peeling. Okay, so this is the effect. That means you are witnessing house paint peeling. So paint ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ, paint ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಿತ್ತು ಬರ್ತಿದೆ painting. So next you are evaluating what are the reasons for which this peeling is occurring. Okay, so next you can list the reasons under 4 groups: work method, material, equipment, environment. Work method, okay, how painting was performed. Okay, again how it was applied, whether the layer of the painting was too thin, whether it was too thick. Next, whether there was dirt over the paint, then if instructions were not given to the painter, okay, so it may result in this peeling. Okay, that is related to work method. Next, if you consider material, that is paint and the wall of the building. Okay, next, cheap solvents, contaminated solvents and dirt. Okay, then wrong type of paint chosen. Okay, so because of this reason also there may be peeling. Okay, next, equipment. While painting, okay, so painters use different equipments. Okay, so they have brush, bristle, and okay, so other devices, paper, salt paper. Okay, so like that they make use of some equipments. Okay, because of the quality of these equipments also, that may result in peeling. Okay, next, environmental factors like humidity, pollution, temperature, and acid rain. Okay, so because of these reasons also paint, the quality of paint may deteriorate, and that may result in peeling. So like that, this is other than manufacturing application, this is related to house and its painting. Okay, like that you can make use of this cause and effect diagram for various fields. Next, next topic, statistical fundamentals. Okay, statistics is defined as the science that deals with the collection, tabulation, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of quantitative data. Quantitative data means measurable data. So a data which you can represent with the help of numbers, that is quantitative data. Okay, statistics so starts from collection. Okay, so you have to collect data. Then after collecting data, tabulation is about how you are representing the data. Okay, you have to represent the data collected in a form, okay, which is easy to read, easy to analyze, easy to interpret. That is tabulation. You may be representing the data in terms of columns and rows, okay, or in terms of points one by one. Okay, so depending on the priority or depending on a different consideration. Okay, next, analysis. So you have collected data. Next, you are represented in terms of columns and rows. Now we can analyze by looking at the table, that is analysis. After analysis, you can draw some conclusions, that is interpretation. Okay, after drawing conclusion, you have better understanding of the data. Next, you can present your understanding of the data, so that is the presentation. Okay, now consider the example of handling of the situation, that is corona pandemic. Okay, so what is the primary thing required to solve the problem or understand the problem of corona pandemic? Is first So system has to collect data. Okay, so people who are looking at policymakers. Okay, they have to collect data. Again, data regarding how many are getting infected every day. Okay, how many are getting vaccination. Okay, that is the data collection. Okay, how many are getting infected every day? That is the collection of data. Next, tabulation. So here you have to tabulate. So in different states, in different districts, okay, how many cases, how many newly infected, how many cured, okay, so how many require ICU bed, how many require oxygen. So that is the tabulation. Next, you can analyze whether the number of cases are increasing or decreasing. Okay, that you can do. So for that, you should have data that should be collected, then that should be tabulated, that should be put in a proper order so that it is easy for you to analyze. Okay, after analysis, government will take a decision whether to implement lockdown, what measures they can take. That is after interpretation. Okay, after analysis, they will interpret what to be done. Okay, then they will present in front of us. Okay, whether to go for lockdown or not. So this is a typical procedure involved in statistics. Statistics is all about data and representing data in terms of numbers. Next, each division is dependent on the accuracy and completeness of the preceding one. That means if you don't collect data, you cannot perform all these things in a proper manner. Okay, now world is criticizing India because so we are not collecting data properly. Okay, so because of mismanagement of a lot of things in our nation, now world is criticizing India for mismanagement of this corona pandemic because world is expecting proper data in terms of validity. Okay, so trustworthy data, that is the expectation of the world, but we are failing to provide that data required to understand virus in a better way, virus and its mutations. Okay, so here if you fail to collect data, you cannot perform remaining thing. Okay, suppose if we are ready to give data to the world, okay, they are ready to do all the remaining thing, but we are failing at the first step itself because of that reason. So okay, so world is criticizing us. If you look at the foreign media, okay, so every day, so they are putting reports against how we are managing this pandemic. Okay, data that are collected for quality control purposes are obtained by direct observation and are classified as either variables or attributes. Okay, so here data collected may be through direct means or it may be through indirect means. So direct means you are directly involved in the process of collecting data. Indirect means so someone has already collected data, you are making use of that. It is like doing literature survey. Whenever you are doing mini project or seminar, okay, you will make use of information represented by someone else based on their work. Okay, so that is the indirect data or secondary data. Okay, so direct observation means it is a primary data where you are collecting it directly by observation, by analysis. So you will look into something, you will measure, okay, then you will collect data. Okay, so in quality control, we rely on direct observation and are classified as either variables or attributes. Okay, so again in data we have quantitative data and qualitative data. Okay, variables are related to quantitative data, attributes are related to qualitative data. Okay, variables are those quality characteristics that are measurable. That means you can quantify them, such as weight measured in grams. Okay, so you will get a number, weight. So 500 gram, 600 gram. Okay, so that is the example of quantitative data are variable. Okay, next, attributes. Attributes are those quality characteristics that are classified as either conforming or non-conforming to specifications. Okay, already we discussed about the meaning of conforming and non-conforming. Okay, what do you mean by not conforming? Not conforming andre ಏನು? Okay, and statistical process control, we quite often we are going to use these two terms. Okay, you must be familiar with these two terms, conforming and non-conforming. Okay, what do you mean by conforming? Abhishek, DK. Okay, what do you mean by not conforming or non-conforming? Charan Raj. Chinmay MG. Chinmay. Darshan GP. Okay, conforming means so it is to the target. Okay, so it is a good product. Okay, or to the specifications. Suppose if the specification is to get a dimension of 18 mm. Okay, conforming means you have a cylindrical component whose diameter is 18 mm. Not conforming means so instead of getting 18 mm, okay, if you are getting 16 mm, that is not conforming. That is a defective. Okay, for defective we use the term non-conforming or not conforming. For acceptable products, we use the term conforming. There are two principal analytical methods of describing a collection of data. So one is measures of central tendency and another is measures of dispersion. So next, measures of central tendency. A measure of central tendency of a distribution is a numerical value that describes the central position of the data or how the data tend to build up in the center. Okay, so central tendency means so if we have a data, okay, if you put that in terms of a graph or in terms of a normal distribution curve, okay, so then how the data looks like at the center, that is the central tendency. The three measures of central tendency commonly used in quality control are the average, the median, then the mode. Okay, these three are used for representing central tendency. The average is the sum. So quite we are familiar with average. Okay, so we will add all the values and we will divide that by so total number. Okay, so that will give you average. The average is the sum of the observations divided by the number of observations. Okay, so this is sum of the individual observations then divided by total number of observations, where x bar is the average, small n lowercase n is number of observed values, xi is that particular observed value. If it may be first value, it may be second, third, fourth, okay, depending on which one we are considering. Next, sum of. Next, median is defined as the value that divides a series of ordered observations so that the number of items above it is equal to the number below it. Okay, so if we have a data, first before going to decide which is the median, so you have to put it in an order. It may be ascending or descending order, so you have to put the data in order, then you can get this median. The average is the most commonly used measure of central tendency. It is used when the distribution is symmetrical or not appreciably skewed to the right or left. Okay, average is suitable for symmetric data. Okay, where you will get an average value. So there are things okay on left and right or above or below. The median becomes an effective measure of the central tendency when the distribution is positively or negatively skewed. Okay, so you will understand the meaning of skewed in next slide. The median is used when an exact midpoint of a distribution is desired. A control chart based on the median is user friendly and excellent for monitoring quality. because so if you look at the graph or chart, okay, you are able to know whether the process is in control or out of control. The mode is used when a quick and approximate measure of central tendency is desired. We don't depend on mode much. Okay, this is used only in certain cases. So this is the meaning of skewed. Okay, symmetric distribution. Okay, so the average is suitable for symmetric distribution, where when the value of mean, median, and mode, okay, if these values are same, then you can get the symmetrical distribution. Okay, that is represented by this dotted line. Okay, suppose if you have positive skewed means data or trend will be towards right or left. It is not at the center. That is called as skewed. Okay, here you can see. So the location of mean, median, and mode. So they are at different location. Okay, and in order to get the average value, center tendency. Okay, compared to mode and mean, median is suitable. Okay, by looking at this, you can understand why median is suitable in case of when data is skewed. Okay. Next, measures of dispersion. Okay, so dispersion means so how large it will vary, to what extent the data is varying. Okay, so to the target. So that is the measures of dispersion. Measures of dispersion describe how the data are spread out or scattered on each side of the central value. Range is one of the measures of dispersion. So in range, you have a lower value and higher value. Okay, so that is one of the measures of dispersion. Range for a series of numbers is the difference between the largest and smallest values of observation. So we have a range 0 to 10. Okay, so that is called as range. So range is highest and least value. Okay, range highest observation in the series and lower observation in a series. The difference of these two is called as range. Okay, next, standard deviation. Standard deviation measures the spreading tendency of the data. A large standard deviation shows greater variability of the data than does a small standard deviation. Okay, so if the deviation is large, that means so it looks like it is out of control. Okay, if the deviation is narrow, that means comparatively it is better. So in order to find the value of standard deviation, that is denoted by smaller case s. Okay, so we have equation. Okay, xi is the value of that particular value, observed value. It may be first, second, third. Okay, so like that, depending on how many values we are considering. So xi is the particular observed value. Next, x bar is average. Next, m is number of observed values. Next, the smaller the value of standard deviation, the better the quality, because deviation is nothing but it is deviation from the requirement. Okay, deviation from the target. So if you are able to achieve the target, that is quality. Okay, if you are deviating from the target, that means you are compromising with the quality. Again, the extent of compromising depends on tolerance limit. Okay, upper limit and lower limit. If it is within that range, we will accept. But always we want to achieve the target. Okay, so the smaller the value of the standard deviation, the better the quality, because the distribution is more closely compacted around the central value. It is suggested that the use of the range be limited to a maximum of 10 observations. So usually there is a limit for usage of range. We don't use range quite often in quality control. Okay, we depend on standard deviation in quality control. Usually, so ranges are preferred if the number of observations are only 10. The standard deviation is used when a more precise measure is desired. In quality control, so we need a more precise measure of quality. Okay, for that reason we depend on standard deviation. So this is an example where you can understand measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. Okay, there are three measures of central tendency: average, median, mode. Okay, and there are two measures of dispersion: range and standard deviation. Okay, so here there is an example: determine the average, median, mode, range and standard deviation for the height of 7 people. Okay, data are, this is the height: 1.83, 1.91, 1.78, 1.80, 1.83, 1.85, 1.87. So these are the heights of various people, 7 people. Okay, next, if you want to find out average, that is one of the measure of central tendency. You have to add all these values. Add 7 values, divide it by 7. You will get average. Next, if you want to find out median, okay, first you have to arrange the given data in an order. Okay, so here they have arranged the given data in descending order. Okay, highest to least. So 1.91, then 1.87, then 1.85, then 1.83, then 1.80, then 1.78. That is the descending order. Okay, next. So you have to, median means you have to choose a value. Okay, so that on the left side and on the right side you will have equal number of observations. Okay, if it is a odd, you can easily you can choose it as 1.83, because on the left you have 3 values, on the right also you have 3 values. That's why this is the median. Suppose if it is a even number, if the number of observations or number of people are 8 instead of 7, then what you have to do is, so you have to consider the value between 4 and 5. Okay, then you have to divide that by 2. That is the median. Okay, so all those things you have already studied in mathematics from high school to. Okay, so you are familiar with this thing. Next, mode. So mode gives a trend. Okay, so which one will be visible frequently. Okay, which one, which observation you are getting repeatedly. Okay, so that is the mode. In this case, so 1.83 is the mode because it is repeating for 2 times. That's why one remaining all so appeared only for once. So here it appeared only for 2 times. That's why 1.83 is the mode. Okay, suppose instead of 1.83, if 1.78 appeared for 3 times, then you have to consider 1.78 as mode. Okay, next, range. So it is the difference of highest and least value. Highest value is 1.91 and least value is 1.78. The difference is range. Okay, next, in order to find out standard deviation, you have a equation. Okay, for first one, so if you are considering in order manner. Okay, so 1.91 is the first value minus, okay, average 1.84 to the power square, plus second value 1.87 minus 1.84 to the power square. Okay, next, plus 1.85 minus 1.84 to the power all to the power square. So like that you have to continue. Last one is 1.78 minus 1.84 to the power square. Next, you have to substitute the values, you will get the standard deviation is 0.04. Okay, next, population and sample. Okay, so in quality control, so usually the trend is, so we cannot evaluate each and every product. If a company is manufacturing 1000 units of a product, it cannot evaluate each and every product. What the company will do, so it will pick few samples for evaluation. The advantage of choosing sample is it will take less time and less effort. Okay, but there's a problem related to how we pick those sample. Okay, what is the strategy? So if our strategy is good, we can get better results even by evaluating only 10. We may be able to do quality inspection or do inspection of all 1,000 units of a product properly. It depends on how we pick these samples. Okay, even during elections you might have seen. Okay, so there are agencies and there are news channels. Okay, they will do post poll survey. Okay, pre poll survey, post poll survey, like the surveys they will do. Again, how they will do the surveys with the help of this sampling. Okay, they will pick people from different social background. Okay, and they will take their opinion. Okay, to which party you have voted in the election, or to which party you are willing to vote in the upcoming election. So like this, they will pick few, and these few should represent the actual population. If they fail to identify samples properly, okay, then they cannot predict the result. Okay, so at times surveys will predict the trend. Okay, most of the time they fail to predict the trend because they fail to collect proper sample where the samples are the actual representation of the population. Okay, so if they fail, again you cannot do that. Similarly, in quality control also, while choosing samples for inspection, so you must be very careful. These samples should represent the actual population. Okay. So first, what do you mean by population? Population is the whole collection of entities. Suppose if you want to do quality evaluation of 1,000 units of a product. Okay, this 1,000 units is the population. Sample is a small portion selected to represent an entire population. Okay, sample size may be 10. Now, out of 1,000 units, you will pick 10 for evaluation of quality. That is called sample. Sample is a small portion selected to represent an entire population. Next, the sample selected must be of such a nature that it tends to resemble or represent the population. Again, even though you have picked only 10 out of 1,000, okay, these 10 should be a representation of all 1,000 units of a product. Okay, you can consider one more example. Suppose if you have any issue in the college, okay, so if you want to discuss with the management of the college, so every student cannot go and interact with the college management. Then what you will do? So some among you will come and you will say, so we are representing all students and students want this, that. Okay, so that is also a sample. But if 10 were coming to represent all students, okay, if they are not representing all, it may be an example. Okay, regarding postponement of exam. Okay, some students may want to postpone the exam. Some students may not want to postpone. They may be ready to write now itself. Okay, so like that, there are different types of students. Even in products, there are different types of defectives. Okay, there are different types of deviations. So this sample should represent all. Okay, so one may be a student who is good at studies, another may be a student who is not good at studies, another may be an average student. Okay, like that. So your team, which is representing the whole entire students in the college. Okay, it should be diverse. It should be diversity. There should be diversity in the sample. Okay, if there is no diversity in the sample, it is not possible to represent the entire population. Next, the sample average has the symbol X bar and the population mean the symbol mu. Okay, so suppose if you are considering samples, so you will represent the average as by using X bar. Suppose you are considering population for evaluation. Okay, so its average is called as mean and it is denoted by mu. Note that the word average changes to mean when used for the population. Okay, same in case of population, you are adding a particular value of all 1,000 units and you are dividing it by 1,000, but that is called as mean. But if you are considering 10, you are adding individual values of 10 and divide it by 10, that is considered as X bar. the sample standard deviation as the symbol S and the population standard deviation as the symbol sigma. A sample frequency distribution, sample means again it is related to a proportion of the population. A sample frequency distribution is represented by a histogram, whereas a population frequency distribution is represented by a smooth curve. It is like, if you are considering sample, it is like a discrete data. If you are considering population, it is like a continuous data. Next, normal curve. Actually, this is also a normal curve. Normal curve, it is based on Gaussian distribution, which you have studied in mathematics. The normal curve is a symmetrical unimodal. So that means it is having a center. Unimodal means mean. Okay, it is having a single mean. So here you can see this is the mean. Okay, it is a single, well-defined single mean value. Okay, that is unimodal. Single mean value, identifiable single mean value, you can see in the normal curve. Okay, the normal curve is a symmetrical, unimodal and bell-shaped distribution with the mean, median and mode having the same value. So all these things will lie at the central vertical. Okay, at the center. Much of the variation in nature and in industry follows the frequency distribution of the normal curves. Okay, so consider the example related to nature. Okay, so if you consider height of a human being, okay, so you have some value in your mind. Okay, so if you don't want to call someone as kullano illa lambu anta karidale hodre, so you have something in your mind. If if the height of some person, okay, so is less than this average, more generally you will call him as kulla, immediately you will name. Okay, so then if it is more than that average, you will call it as lambu. Okay, so that means there is something in your mind. So that value is a mean, median, mode. Okay, so you are evaluating, comparing that, and so it is applicable even for average weight of a person. You have something in your mind. Okay, so there's a definite relationship among the mean, the standard deviation and the normal curve. Okay, normal curves with different means but identical standard deviation. Okay, so these are the normal curves with different mean. Okay, 14, then 20, then 29. But you can see the shape of the curve, it remains almost same even though mean values are different. But in another case where you have different standard deviations but identical mean. Okay, so in this case standard deviation was identical whereas mean values are different. In this case, so standard deviation values are different but mean values are same. Okay, but look at the curve. Okay, suppose if the deviation is 1.5, okay, the curve is narrow and you can see a peak here. Okay, so you can see a peaked curve where deviation is narrow. Okay, or the data is narrowly dispersed. Next, if the deviation is 3, okay, plus or minus 3, then you will get this curve. Okay, if the deviation is broader, you will get a curve like this. Okay, the shape of the curve will vary depending on deviation. The larger the standard deviation, the flatter the curve. That means data are widely dispersed. And the smaller the standard deviation, the more peaked the curve. Data are narrowly dispersed. If the standard deviation is 0, all values are identical to the mean and there is no curve. Okay, so if there is no deviation, it will be represented. It can be represented in a single vertical line. You don't get the curve. The normal distribution is fully defined by the population mean and population standard deviation. These two parameters are independent. So that means mean and standard deviation, they are independent. A relationship exists between the standard deviation and the area under the normal curve. Okay, so this is the relationship. Okay, so if the mean is plus or minus 1 sigma, if the standard deviation is plus or minus 1 sigma, okay, the area under that curve will be 68.26%. If the deviation is plus or minus 2 sigma, okay, and if you are considering the area under this, okay, so that will represent 95.45% of the overall observations or population. Next, if you are considering plus or minus 3 sigma, okay, that will represent almost 99.73% of the total observations. The fact that 99.73% of the items are included between plus or minus 3 sigma is the basis for variable control chart. So later we'll discuss about this control chart and variable control chart and control chart for attributes.